Here we go, guys, pulling it out for the first time. Look at this bugger. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Check it out. Got my hands on the DJI Air 3, just being released now. DJI finally actually contacted me, sent me a demo version. This is the first time I've had anything from DJI sent by demo, especially something that's pre-release. So as you can see, it's still boxed up in the packaging. I do have the DJI Air 2S, the older version here, to compare to the Air 3. Basically, this is going to be a series of videos like I normally do with DJI products, unboxing, setup, comparison. And then we're going to do multiple videos, probably around 5. We're going to do flight testing, in-depth flight testing, see how this thing performs. One of the signature range tests on this thing, see how far it can go. And then we're also going to do some cinematic designated videos and also tracking, see how good this thing can track people, bicycles, and vehicles. And of course, in each video, we'll do a pros and cons. Super excited. Let's get started. This is the DJI RC2. This is also OcuSync 4 versus OcuSync 3, which is their transmission and video technology. As you can see, this is the Flymore combo. It's got the DJI RC2 with the screen built into the controller. The Flymore combo I got with the Air 2S does not have the screen on the controller. So this is really convenient for those of you who don't want to put your cell phone on there. Spinning the box around, basically nothing really to see here, but something very interesting about the Air 3 is it's got a dual camera, kind of like, remember the Mavic 3 has that regular camera and then that telephoto camera side by side, so you can zoom way in and get a higher definition. DJI is saying this one is omnidirectional, where it has a 360-degree obstacle avoidance. That means up, down, left, right, forward, and back. So you'll be able, hopefully, to do all of those point of interests without worrying about it hitting trees and stuff on the side and above you and all that stuff. The Air 2S did not have the side sensing. Significant improvements on the Air 3 versus the Air 2S. Flymore combos always come with extra batteries, they come with a multi-charger, and they come with a few extra things that the regular combos don't. I should say DJI also actually sent me this high power adapter. It's 100 watt. 100 watts is a huge improvement. So also unbox this with you so you can see how fast this thing charges. Let's get all this plastic off. And DJI always has these little no tamper tabs. So you just have to pull this off. It looks like that little tab did not work. So let's go ahead and cut this right here. Cool. So there we go. And let's pop this open. Great thing about the Flymore combos, guys, is they come with a bag. As you can see, a nice bag where everything's tucked away in here. QR code up here that you can scan on your phone, and you can download the Fly app, the tutorials, and the user manual for the Air 3. This is exciting. My first time, guys, in unboxing this. Let's see what's in here. Check out this bag. Nice. Wow. So it's a whole different look. This is kind of reminding me of the Mavic 3 Flymore combo, where they had kind of like that denim material that was coated in rubberish plastic. So if you do get this thing wet, your drone is going to be protected. Not really Velcro, but it's just one of those like wire management kind of tabs that you can save. Nice padded strap, perforated for breathing. High density, a little bit of a hard plastic, kind of what the drone is made out of right here. Faux leather rubber here sewn in. Strap right here, this handle strap, really durable. And there is actually a pocket right here that you can put thin stuff in on the back. Let's get back to the front, and we can see that it does have the DJI logo here. And this is just like a tab. Let's see how this works. Little latch system, as you can see there, but there's a magnet underneath here. So once you get it over, it just snaps in. You hear that satisfying magnetic click. So you know that's not going to come off by itself. Opening this thing up, and check it out. We have all the goodies inside. Never touched. It looks like we have a whole bunch of propellers. Oh my gosh. Wrap on everything now so nothing gets scratched up. So it's definitely protecting your purchase. So this is the DJI RC2. It's got the screen on it using OcuSync 4, the new OcuSync, which is going to give us the highest definition they have, and it's going to give us a better transmission range, which don't forget, we're going to test in our range test. Let's get the drone out here. Let's get the accessory charger here. So this is the multi-charger. I do like how they have everything well protected. And it's very similar to the bag with the Mavic 3, as I was saying. We have Velcro here, so you can change the layout a little bit. In between the side and the internal bag, we do have pockets here. Piece of foam on the bottom. I'll just let you guys kind of look in there real quick. You see how that piece of foam popped out? And that's just kind of molded to the front of the drone, so we probably want to leave that in there. The only thing it's missing is some side pockets. I really did like those kind of expandable mesh side pockets, just in case you want to stuff something else in there. Durable, the stitching was done very well. And then we actually do have this bag on top, so at least there is this bag in here on the top cover. Go ahead and open this real fast and pull everything out. There's our instruction manual, Type-C cable here with 2 USB Type-C ends. And that's it. That's everything in the top. Let's go ahead and put the bag on the side. Whole bunch of sets of propellers. 6 B's and it looks like 6 A's, right? So it's the propellers that spin opposite ways when you put them on the drone. RC2 with the screen. Wow, look at that beautiful screen. So they didn't put any screen protector on it, I guess because it comes in that plastic bag there. You see how the original came kind of with this phone holder because it didn't have a screen on this one with the antenna on top for the OcuSync 3. Let's check this one out. So little stubby guys here, and they just rotate. Basically that's it, like 90 degrees, and then you can rotate them out another 90 degrees each. They do have notching here. You always want your drone to be perpendicular to these flat surfaces facing out. So as much as possible, keep it pointed at your drone like this and you'll have the best signal. Snap, hopefully. Yeah, on the back of the controller, nice little aluminum sticks tucked away in this rubber surround here. Screw right in here, just screwing right in. Just want to be careful. These posts are pretty thin. And so there we go. Well, there's our power readout there. Let's see what it's at. Yeah, it's just about half charged. Let's flip it over to the top here. We have our record for video and our camera buttons here. Looks like the whole front of the controller might be antennas. One's for the video and one's for control. Kind of a combination. Rollers right here, both spring back. One's going to be for your gimbal and one's going to be for zooming. Let's go over to the bottom here. We saw where we were holding our sticks in. C1 and C2 buttons that you can kind of auto program to whatever you want. We have a speaker, cooling area here, screw holes here that you can attach peripherals, SD card slot, USB Type-C slot here for charging, 2 more little screw-in slots that you can use for peripherals to mount the controller, whatever you want it to do. Nice grippy rubber here where the hands are going to be holding onto it, so that's not going to slip out of your hands. It gives you that nice grippy feel, and it is very comfortable in the hands. You know, I'm just holding it like this, and they are known for having a very comfortable controller. It's not too heavy. 3.6 volt 5100 mAh or 22.32 watt hour. I think we spent enough time on the controller. Let's open up this multi-charger. Does look a little bit different than all the rest. Same kind of just plastic bag here that's protecting everything. Now this one is touted to fly for about 46 minutes. Remember the Air 2S was only about 31 minutes. So that's effectively 15 minutes of extra flight time on the Air 3, guys. That's going to be great. I think the Mini was the only one that could fly that long with the extended batteries. Go ahead and check that. I'll have it pop up and you can check out the Mini Pro drone DJI also makes. So there's a battery on there and then we get 2 extra batteries. Now DJI doesn't let their batteries be used until you charge them. That's why I'm not getting any lights up here, so we have to charge this thing first. A high voltage 4S, kind of like their other drones. Maximum charge is 17 volts, nominal 14.76. These are 4,241 mAh or 62.6 watt hours. So that is a lot of capacity. This is like the female portion, so these don't short out. We get 2 of these batteries. Check out this multi-charger. Let's see how this snaps back in. Give it a good push. Actually, I didn't even notice this, but there are tabs here. So I just pulled it out. It looked like it will come out, but look at this. You can push these tabs and it slides out much easier. Pushing that to take them out, but sliding them in. Totally forgot about my little pointer here. So USB-C for power. Looks like we're going to be using this one that came in the package. Maybe 1.5 feet of length here. Basically nothing else except your power button. Charge it on the drone if you don't have this, but it's just a great peripheral to have. I always buy the Fly More combos on DJI drones just because you get more bang for your buck. Even though it's a little more expensive, you still are saving money if you were to buy each thing separately, and you just have way more flight time. Here we go, guys, pulling it out for the first time. Look at this bugger. Completely different looking design on the camera guard. Look at the Air 2, the comparison here. They're covering the sensors on the front. Those look like maybe 180-degree sensors. Look at the difference on this one. It had up and forward sensors. They're just a wider angle. Just like a mini Mavic 3 is what it kind of seems like. Feel just about the same weight. And of course that battery capacity is going to be bigger. You can see how the battery on the older Air comes right out the top like this. And look at the newer Air is going to be straight from the back, right? So you got to pull the legs out a little and push those tabs. Very sleek design here. Tolerances are just getting better and better. Over on the top, very interesting. We have kind of like these channels here. Air 3 logo there. Looking good. DJI always has their fit and finish is just immaculate. LWA 81 dB. The loudness of this drone, how loud it is when it's flying. They usually use magnesium for their cooling built into the bottom of their case, so very light type of metal that transfers heat very well. Sure, there's a fan in here. We'll hear that probably when we boot it up and it starts to heat up. 2 optical flow sensors to see the ground. Also a laser here, and there's our big LED light. 2 feet, rubberized feet, because it does sit right on the ground on the back here. A USB cover here, memory card, and our USB-C. Won't be connecting the USB-C unless we're charging it, and we need to put that memory card in it if we want to have extra recording capacity. Very thick rubberized door. You can see how it has a little latch lanyard on it. Don't want to pull too hard on that. A wire mesh here that is very, very fine, but very well done. I'd imagine it's blowing out the back because you're usually going to be going forward with the drone. The fan is going to be pushing that air out. And it looks like with this one, let's see. See if we can do either or. Nope, we can't do the bottom first. Remember the Mini Pro, you could do either arm first if you wanted to. Top or bottom, but this one you have to do the front first. Now this is great. They've added a little rubber stoppers here right on the tops of the arm, so it's not going to be scratching the case. And if you remember on the Air 2S and some of their other drones, the arm when it came up, that's why they had to put these little plastic things on there. It would scratch the case a little bit, but they figured that out. They got their tolerances a little better, and now there is some separation between the bottom of the arm and the case. Nice springy feel to the legs coming out. Bump stops here. Also, check it out on the front arms. There are bump stops right here on the front arms, so when they come back and they hit the case, they are not damaging it or scratching it at all. So great improvements they're making. Here are the motors. So of course we have a clockwise and a counterclockwise spinning motor from front to back. Check out those motor windings in there. Just absolutely flawless. I mean, the quality here with this stuff, I'm not just saying this either because they sent it to me. As you know, my reviews are super honest. I've just reviewed so many DJI products and their fit and finish is quite above most of the rest. Autel is pretty close to DJI as far as their quality, fit and finish, and competitiveness. But you know what? DJI still is, in my mind, a little bit ahead of the game with all their drones. And you know, they're getting more and more offices open in America. So this actually was flown straight from California to me. Whatever your feelings might be, you're still getting an amazing product. But if you are kind of boycotting these drones that are coming from China, then you are kind of missing out on this amazing technology. Of course, as usual, we have marker lights on all 4 corners. So super bright LED light. Turn these off if you want to. So you can fly kind of incognito if you want. The obstacle avoidance sensing cameras are 2 on the back and the 2 on the front. Let's go ahead and take off this camera cover. Push in on the bottom and you see how it's notched there. It just goes right over that ridge. That is the most secure camera cover I have ever seen on a DJI drone, and the most minimalistic. Mavic 3 has this huge honking thing that the cable wraps around the whole back of it and the sides. This is just locked in here, super good, and it comes off super simple, smoky, so it just kind of protects it from the sun and stuff. And look at this camera. Wow. This is just a little foam protector that we can just remove. Left to right limits there. Feels like it's only about maybe 30 degrees up, pretty high, but it doesn't go all the way up. And then down, it goes all the way down and back. Rotation left to right here. That's how far it's going. The way these things are cooled is the air is just being sucked in through the large cavity here in the front. It does have a back wall, but it's vented. Cooling fins on the back and on the top. Just a slight cooling fin here. Really nice looking camera. Really anxious to see how this thing works. I want to put on this protector again real quick. See how easy it is to put on. I like how it molds over the front, because if you remember some of the older ones, it would only mold over the camera, like the Air 2S actually. You see how it's going over just the camera? And that was always a little bit difficult to get on. But now that they have it go and mask the front, you're already kind of directed in the right situation as long as your camera's facing forward. And then you can just basically go under, push up, and latch right in. And that's awesome. It feels so secure. And by the way, this is a 20 megapixel on the Air 2S, 48 megapixel on the Air 3. So you're getting over twice the megapixel on there. The Air 3 has quite a bit of a larger motor on the left-hand side than the Air 2S on the right. Huge difference in the arms. Look at this. So the Air 2S just had these big old square, not very aerodynamic arms here. But look at in comparison with the 3. Thinner and smaller components, but stronger. Check it out. 2 sensors up here. A little bit different, a little bit wider. You can see how this is wider on the back than the Air 2. You can see how the Mavic 3 here on the left has the dual camera as well. I'm really anxious to see how this thing is going to do in obstacle avoidance compared to the Mavic 3. Does pretty good, but once you start getting into high speed through trees on roads, this thing actually, it starts to nip some branches. Hopefully they've improved it on this. Just a quick little side view of the two. Right up here on the back, you can really see the similarities. Here's a cool little stack here of the latest technology in the Air 3 versus the older technology of the Air 2S and the Mavic 3. Looks like a kind of a huge advancement from the Air 2S. Just phenomenal with the dual lens, omnidirectional, much slimmer, sleeker aerodynamic design, fly longer, better technology all the way around. So pretty impressed so far. I want to open a few more things. Here's the USB power adapter, and I want to see how all this stuff kind of goes together. If you're setting yours up for the first time, you can go ahead and follow this video as well, because I'm also going to go through the quickly through the interface and see what that's all about. So this is a hefty chunk of equipment. This is not light. You have a separate wall plug for this. Since I'm in the US, of course it has this type of plug here. And then we got this here. So we actually have 2 USB-C cables. This one is definitely about 3 feet. So we could plug our batteries into C1 if we wanted to. And then, since we got this other cable here, remember with the drone, we're gonna be charging our controller, boom, at the same time. Take this one out of the Air 3. So you get 3 46-minute batteries with the Flymore combo. So definitely, if you are gonna buy it, get the Flymore combo. I'm telling you, you're gonna thank me later. I will have the link down in the description of where you can buy this thing. I think this is a separate purchase for this high power charger. You might want to throw that in there too, because these will charge much faster. I want to do one last thing. I'm going to put the propellers on, then we're going to go ahead and charge everything up and get back into the interface. 2 B bags and 2 A bags. Okay, we actually get 3 total sets of propellers, 12 propellers. And that's what's so awesome about the Flymore combo, is you get so many propellers, which we shouldn't really need to use because this thing should not crash, I'm hoping. I did a bike review on the Mavic 3 tracking, and that thing was nipping some branches, but I'm hoping this one tracks better than the Mavic 3 just because it's newer. So quite a different propeller. We're getting into more of like a Mavic 3 territory. Air 3 on the right and this is the Air 2S on the left. They kind of got away from the wing tips here. They do still have the rubber tips here for protection. Here they are just matched up on the bottom. Look how much longer the Air 3 propellers are on the right. Here we are with the Mavic 3 and the Air 3. Very similar, just a little bit of differences in the propellers. Just like all their drones, they have color coded. This one has a ring around the center, and this one's just black, white ring, black. And all you're gonna do is coincide those to the motors. So as you can see, this motor is just black. This motor has white around it. You can feel the spring resistance there, push it down. In this instance, I'm gonna just push the propeller, and the propeller is going clockwise on this one. The motor would be going counterclockwise to lock that in. So the motor's spinning the opposite direction than the other front motor. So I'm just gonna quickly throw on these other propellers as fast as I can. Only spin one way. When you lock them down, cannot get this thing wrong unless you really tweak them incorrectly. See how fast and easy that was. Push the propellers together, go up, and then push the propellers together on the front arms, and go back. I see why they made those little notches. Look, check that out. They're little notches for the propellers. Probably 2-for-1 way of engineering where you get a little bit of aerodynamic for the drone when it's traveling fast. Unfortunately, on the bottom, it looks like these things are just gonna swing around. So that's the only drawback of not having that total clamp case. Anyway, that's it for the initial unboxing, but we're not done yet. I'll tell you exactly how long everything charges straight out of the box when you get it, and we'll get to just checking out the interface and seeing what that all looks like, and then we'll wrap it up with the final pros and cons. So I just plugged both of these, controller and the multi-charger, in to that 100-watt battery adapter. The controller is fast charging as well as one of the batteries. Only thing is you can't charge all batteries at one time. They're going to charge in consecutive order. What DJI does is it charges the battery that has the highest amount of power first, so you can get flying faster. Then it goes on to the next highest and the next highest. Okay guys, just wanted to chime in here. It's been just about 45 minutes, maybe 44, when the first battery stopped and switched over to the second. About 1 hour and 5 minutes for the controller. It just shut off. Looks like it just takes a long time for the controller to top off. You could probably definitely get away with just taking the controller off the charger if you really wanted to fly when the first battery was done, but it's always nice to have multiple batteries on your first flight. Okay guys, now this is kind of interesting. Say it's about 80 degrees, 85 outside, cooler inside actually. It seems like the batteries had overheated when I was over there on the table, and so I moved to a cooler portion of the house. Basically it was blinking one light indicating it was overheating. When that happened, this battery started to charge again. This actually stopped at 3 bars and then started charging this one. So apparently this one had started overheating as well while it was charging. So just be careful with this. High wattage setup here, higher power, more heat, faster charging, more heat. So essentially, if there's no overheating issues, 45 minutes times 3, that's with the controller, and 3 batteries. So just around 2.5 hours on the fast 100-watt charger. So when you deplete your battery when you're flying, expect this to take about 1.5 hours per battery to charge, even on the 100-watt. So anyway, that's how it's going with the batteries, guys. Gonna let this charge up, and then we'll get to the interface and the controller with the drone. So hang in there. Okay guys, now that we have everything fully charged up, 1, 2, 3. Now you can press the buttons on the batteries to make sure they're fully charged. And also we have our controller fully charged up. Take off the front guard. Every time you boot up the drone, you want to take this off so that the camera can move around and initiate. Push once, let go, press and hold, let go. And the drone is going to boot up. So you're going to hear a chime. We're going to see the gimbal kind of wobble and move a little bit. And we're going to see some blinking on the lights. Now we want to check out the controller. Push, let go, push and hold until that boots up. So we have the DJI boot up screen, and let's just see what we need to do with the interface. As you can see, we had that left light blinking there, and now it's solid green. That means it's connected to the drone, so you're ready to go. The red lights mean there's no GPS satellites, enough satellites to take off in the house here. Just want to select our language, in this case English. Click next. And like I said, it's a pretty extensive process to kind of get started with DJI just because their software is so advanced. So terms and service, just scroll all the way down and agree or disagree to that. Of course, you've got to agree to use their drone and software. Region, United States, or whatever region you are, click next. And this is where it's important to connect to your Wi-Fi network. Since it uses Wi-Fi to attach to the internet to get the updates and all that stuff, you need to have a Wi-Fi in your home. So I'm going to attach to mine real quick here. Okay, once you punch in the password for your Wi-Fi, just going to hit check mark. Okay, connecting to Wi-Fi. And there we go. So we got a check mark. Going to go ahead and hit next here. Our time. So we're not in Beijing, that's for sure. So we want to click here and we want to do our time. GMT Mountain Time here, -600, and press enter. Next, time activation. As you can see, I'm doing this before this product is launched. When you see it, it'll be released when the project is launched, hopefully on the day it's launched. Okay, now we need to either create a DJI account or log into your existing account. I do have an existing account, so I'm gonna go ahead and log into that now. If you don't, just hit create account. Okay guys, once you punch in your email and password or create one, I'm just gonna go ahead and hit activate. And there we go. Welcome, let's get started. Let's start. Gives you a little tutorial on how to use the controller. You can swipe from left to right here. As you can see, I just went back. You can go forward. Looks like I just skipped all that, but that's just a little tutorial on how to start your thing up. As usual, DJI has a little intro video, so you can skip that up here at the top right if you want. And here we go. So information authorization, all it's doing, it wants to collect data from the GPS, from this device, hardware info, and of course this is their own controller, so you want to make sure that all this is enabled so that your drone's going to fly correctly and everything's going to work. Product improvement project, you can join that if you want or not. I'm just going to push not now. That's up to you. Activate your device by tapping. You agree with aircraft terms and service, DJI device hardware info. Agree. So this is actually going to activate the drone and the controller on your account that you just created so that you can see your flights, and if you need to send in for repair, they have a record of how you flew and stuff. Okay, aircraft successfully bound to device just flashed right there. So it's kind of just showing us this beginning interface here, a little tutorial on what it is. Okay. So instructions over here, and there it is, guys, the Air 3. You get a little image on the basic home screen. It is saying locating, and so that means that there's just not a sufficient amount of satellites indoors here to locate where it's at. If you're outdoors, this should be pretty quick. So I'm not seeing any updates. Of course, this is the version that they're probably still working on the software because this is pre-release right now. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Go Fly, and let's just look at the interface really quick. So the AirSense basically will, if you wanted to read that real quick, it's just technology within the craft that's locating if there is an aircraft nearby. I'm just going to enable it just so, you know, I don't crash into any manned aircraft. So anyway, there's the camera. You can see that stabilization is just fantastic. DJI's gimbals always have phenomenal stabilization. I'm tilting the craft left and right, up and down. Most DJI drones have the same interface. This is the DJI Fly app. So if you're using a cell phone and you don't have this controller, you're going to want to download. Of course, it's already built into the controller they provide, so you don't have to worry about all that stuff. So over here, we have our percentage of power left, 94%. Time in flight, which is 0 because we haven't taken off. RC signal between this and the craft. We have a full 5 bars right now. We have our sensors here. None of the sensors are on because we're not taking off yet. Then we have our satellites here. It's only pulling in 12 satellites because above me is like a stucco porch and roof and all that mesh within stucco. Then we have a little options menu here. We'll just work our way down around the screen. For those of you who haven't seen this interface before, it might be helpful. Take pictures or start video. We can do 1 or 3 times zoom. You see how that zoomed right in there? So it has an immediate zoom if you just click that button. Up here on the top left of the roller, I'm just gonna roll the camera up and down. You'll see it moving there on the drone. And you'll also see the picture going up and down. So you can control that in flight. See how I'm rotating up? That's pretty much as high as it can go. And then we'll rotate down. I'm just pulling the roller left and right. And then this one here should be the zooming. Looks like it's in picture mode right now, so the zoom feature is not working. Let's see if we put it in video mode. So we can press on this little picture icon here. And let's go into video. There we go. We'll just press on the screen. It's just in normal video mode. And now we'll go ahead and push on this right roller to the right. And you can see how it's zooming in there on my watch. That definition is pretty incredible on the screen. I mean, this is a high definition video throughput, and we're getting high definition on the screen as well. So fantastic. We can do that on this top roller, and it's showing us the magnification that it's going right there. If we can go slowly or fast if we want, just hold it. Or remember, you can just hit 3 and it'll go right in there and zoom in immediately. You saw me click on this little icon above the record icon here, and all that does is get you into either photo or video mode, and then you can go into styles of the mode. For example, normal, night mode, slow motion mode, video, photo, master shots, quick shots, hyperlapse, and panoramic. So you have all these options just in the base menu. We click on photo, these things change on the left side. Now we can do single, AEB. So we have 3 and 5 on there. We can do burst, 3, 5, or 7 second bursts. And then we have timed pictures, 2 all the way up to 60-second timed photos. So these are all the things we'll be doing in our flight test, which is going to be the next video, guys. And remember, we can just click on the screen to get out of that menu. This down here is going to just be our gallery. If you did take pictures and videos, you can access them all from here. So down here in the bottom, we have auto mode. Hit auto. And you can adjust all these things here. It's currently in 4K 60. The onboard storage only has 9 minutes and 43 seconds, so you definitely want to put a card in there. So if you go pro, you can actually change all these things. I'm clicking on here. Just a huge amount of options here. Total size on the drone, as you can see here, is 8 gig. So it has 8 gig of built-in if you don't have a memory in there, memory card. I'm kind of an automatic guy. These things have gotten great now, so I just hit auto and let it kind of do its thing. Unless there's really a problem with the lighting, I need to get in there. Your distance, and right now it's in meters. I like to change that to feet and meters per second. I like to change that to miles per hour and feet per second. I'm going to be changing that in the options up here in just a second. That's your height and distance, and your speed going up and your speed going out, or horizontally and vertically right there. Click on that. That's our map. Just basically a Google map. You can click on it to make it big. This also has all these options, so if you wanted to, you could put on satellite maps. Remember, you have to do this though on an internet connection. This doesn't have a cell phone connection, so you want to kind of load these maps in. If I click satellite there, you can see it right over my house there, bring up the satellite imagery. So kind of interesting that it shows you the picture of what the drone's seeing now. Then you can also do mixed, which is just satellite with labels. Notifications for aircraft. Medium high collision risk is on. If you do lose your drone while you're flying, you can hit find my drone, which is great because it pulls up a map. It'll route you to where your drone is. And then if you have power left in your drone, you can start flashing and beeping. I'm going to do that right now. So you hear that? Stop. Listen for it and locate it, like if it's in a tree or something. When I do my range tests once in a while, I use that. So stay tuned, guys, and subscribe so you can see some of my range tests on these guys and if I lose the drone or not. You can click right back on the screen and there you go. You have your video of what the drone's seeing back up there. If you wanted to, you can click on the compass here. Moving the drone left and right, the horizon goes down, and then if I move it forward, the horizon's going up and back. So if you're flying in some wind, that thing will start fluctuating more and more. If we want to minimize it, we just press that little arrow and we can have a mini compass here. Or we can go back to our maps just by pressing that. Continuing on the left, we have this up arrow. If you do want to launch it using the software, you can just basically hold that and it will launch off. We'll do that in our flight test, and then oh, nice. Now we have waypoint flight. I haven't seen this in their drones for a while. You can press the C1 button to add a waypoint. Remember, we have our C buttons down here. So if we click there, waypoint or POI at that waypoint, little paper icon, and right now these are your saved waypoints. Pretty cool. We'll see how that stuff works. So we'll do maybe a special flight test just for that and see how all that works. You click the waypoint off and that'll go away. The more advanced DJI drones, even the Mini 3 Pro, actually have focusing on different parts of the screen for the camera. So if you see my hand here, watch this. I can just click on my hand. You see how that tries to focus in. It's a little too close for it, but it's trying to focus in on that. There we go. My arm is a little better to be in focus. So there is a minimum focal length. I think it's somewhere around like 8 inches to a foot. So great features. You know, if you're flying around an object and you really want to get it crisp and it's not centered, you can just click on different parts of the screen and get focused in like that. Modes of operation that it's telling you up at the top left of the screen, and that'll change as we go into Cine mode. Push this button here. Normal mode, you see it popping up there to tell you what it's on. And sport mode. Remember, obstacle avoidance is unavailable in sport mode. It's just going to fly fast and not avoid anything. So that's pretty much the whole main interface here on the screen. If you do want to change some settings, and there are a lot of them, guys, that's when we get into this here. I'm not going to go too in depth in it, but I'll just give you a basic overview of all these. The first tab we have up here is safety. With the obstacle avoidance, it's asking you what you want to do. Do you want to have it completely off where it will crash into things? Do you want the drone to stop before an obstacle and you take over? Or do you want it to automatically bypass the obstacle while you just keep pushing forward? I usually like to have it on bypass, but they're known to not be perfect sometimes in the kind of lighting you have. I don't know if you've seen my Mini 3 Pro video. If you want, I'll have that pop up here on home inspection, and I was flying into a wall on the outside and it just kind of went up and crashed into the wall. So it's going to really depend on lighting and the software in this bypass. Bypassing options, normal, nifty, possibly collide, so you can have that on or off. I usually like to just do normal. It's a little smoother and nifty. Your RTH altitude, what do you want it to return at when you hit return to home or it loses signal? I want to change the units into imperial. Let's see where we can get that. I think it's in about. While we're here, let's just check for updates real quick. It says firmware's up to date, so they haven't released a new firmware, it looks like, so I might not be able to show you the updating on this one until later on. Video transmission, we'll just work our way back. I usually just leave it in dual band and auto. It seems to be okay to select the best channels for the least amount of interference, so I just leave all that how it is. Camera, now this is where you can adjust all your settings, slew of settings, which is incredible, or reset all your parameters. So that's for the camera. Control, there we go, that's what we're looking for. Metric, meters, kilometers, and imperial. For some of you guys that are in Europe or wherever you are else in the world, you have those options for your metric settings for your units on screen. Gain and expo tuning, we got gimbal mode, follow or FPV mode. Follow is where, you know, the gimbal is going to move separately than the drone, and then FPV mode is it's kind of locked, so you get that kind of like an FPV race drone kind of view where it's kind of fixed. Your gimbal calibration, stick mode, mode 2 for me, but you have mode 1, 2, 3, or you can customize it. Basically, sky's the limit. You can set it however you want. I'm just used to mode 2. And of course, button customization. So you can adjust those C1 and C2 buttons that we saw on the back of the remote. Adjust your right dial for zooming in and out or whatever you want. See how you have all these different options here. C1 button plus right dial. You also have another combo button selection you can set as well. Just a phenomenal amount of information. Go into control and flight tutorial if you really want to have an in-depth tutorial on how to fly these things. So checking your propellers, swipe right, checking your camera, gimbal cover is removed. And then of course it shows you how you want to hold your controller. And this is important because a lot of people think you need to point the top of the sticks here at the craft. That's not the case, and this is a great example they have with that paper airplane there. So you can start the tutorial, and here we go. So you can do this whole tutorial. It'll actually give you everything I've gone through, little annotation pop-ups on everything, and you just hit next and see how it's going around the screen. One thing to note is I'm hearing this fan here. You can hear that, and that's great because these things will get hot. The minis had a problem with overheating in my house in Hawaii. Definitely, if you buy the multi-charger, keep it out of the sun when you're charging it in a cool place, especially with that 100-watt adapter there. So we have full power off. The bottom is pretty warm here, and that's what this thing is doing, is it's basically cooling fins, right? A heat sink on the whole bottom. On the hotter, warmer side, I mean, I can still touch it, but it's doing its job. And these things aren't meant to just sit here forever without flying. So when it's flying, you're going to get this air flowing through it. At least there's a fan on board to keep it cool while you're doing these updates and just looking at the UI if you need to, or downloading your maps and stuff like that. Some new features, guys, that the Air 3 has that actually my contact with DJI had just emailed me. He's saying that the team wanted to share a few new features and he wanted to make sure I included these in the video. So check this out. Smart features and tracking work at the same time simultaneously. So that's an upgrade. They're probably upgrading the processor, improving their software. Max ascent and descent speed is 10 meters per second, which is faster than the Mavic 3 Pro. Now, I've done a lot of videos on the Mavic 3. I'll have it pop up here down in the description. If you're interested in the Mavic 3 series, you can check that out. Like I was saying, this is just like a little mini improved Mavic 3 Pro. Number 3, charging. When there is no external device connected to the battery charging hub, remember we got this in the Fly More combo, you can long press the function button to trigger the power accumulation function, which will transfer the remaining power of the batteries with lower power to the battery with the highest remaining power. Let's try that real quick. I've been doing some stuff and I have some of these batteries are a little bit low. It seems like if you do a quick press, let go, and press and hold, let's see what happens here. That turns to green flashing slowly, and watch what's happening to the batteries here, guys. It's charging the one with the second highest rate. So this is kind of a great feature. If you're in the field, you have done a few flights, you have 2 low batteries and 1 half battery or something, and you just want to get that extra flight in with a full battery, you can suck the limited amount of power out of these lower batteries and go ahead and give yourself a fully charged batteries for a new flight. What a great feature. I'm glad somebody thought of doing that. I'm not seeing any updates, so I think that's gonna do it, guys. I hope that was informative for you. I know it was long, but these are the things you wanna know on a new craft like this, especially from DJI, because there's so much technology in here. I mean, it's only as complicated really as you want it to be. If you're a pro and you know how to use all these settings, at least you can go in there and change all these things, and that's a pro for you guys. But if you just want to fly, you want everything to be automatic, it's really kind of set for you too. You can just have everything to auto. All you need to worry about is your zooming and your gimbal up and down and just flying the craft. It's always a blast for me to just check out this new technology and really kind of go in depth in it, show you what the thing looks like, and then also go into the new features and interfaces of what this thing is, just kind of preparing for flight. For you guys that are dropping this amount of money, $1,000 or more on great consumer products like this, you want to kind of know what you're getting into, and that's what you'll find here on my channel. If you like this video, please give me a like and subscribe down there. And also, if you're looking for the DJI Air 3, go ahead and check it out down below. I'll have the links on where you can buy these things. Definitely recommend the Fly More combo. I'll have that down there. I'll have the different iterations of the product types and combos you can get, and also the other stuff I use to film my videos and what I use, my favorite products. So check that out down below, down there in the description. And thanks for hanging with me, guys. I hope you enjoyed that, and don't miss the flight test coming up next. Thanks for watching.
A few moments later.
You guys still there? Oh, okay. Well, one of the things I like to do is I like to see if all this stuff can fit in the bag for the Fly More combo, because sometimes it's really hard to squeeze things in.